Alright, YouTubers, so I'm working on my sister's house, and she had a problem with the smell coming she couldn't handle, and she told me the carpet was wet when she came out here today, so we were trying to trace a leak on her front load washer, which I'll show you a basic because I tore a bunch of it apart, and I had to go ahead and trace a leak on it, and found it in a very unusual spot, so I figured I'd let you know. Alright, so the first places I checked was, check the drawer to make sure that that wasn't the problem. Check to see if it was draining properly, so I just put a couple bottles of water in there, spilled it in there, and then looked down in the bottom to see if it was coming down, and it was not. I had already removed the front panels. I had taken the drawer out and taken that out to go ahead and do the inspection. It's important you know that the entire drawer was completely full of water, and I had to bail it out with buckets to go ahead and get it out of here because it was nasty. It smelled like sewage. I actually cleaned it with peroxide just to go ahead and disinfect it. It was pretty bad. Alright, so that being said, I couldn't find the leak anywhere. I let it drain, I let it cycle. It's actually running right now, and I couldn't see water coming down from anywhere. And I cleaned out the lint trap, which was clogged, but it wasn't the problem. It wasn't backed up and leaking anywhere. So the problem was trying to find the actual issue, and you can see there's rust and evidence that it had been leaking for quite some time, especially for that entire drawer to be full. It had been going on for quite some time, which is what the smell was that she was probably thinking. Now, these are only a couple screws to take this out. It was 3 screws across the bottom, and then it just pulled right out. And then I pulled these 2 screws here later, which is here and here, for this panel here. Now, you can see there's water coming from this lip right here, which would indicate that it probably has a bad seal. But even beyond that, I noticed that there's water coming from a very odd place. It's coming right here between this trim molding and this glass, which is really like an acrylic. So since it's acrylic up against metal, I'm going to go ahead and seal that with a silicone all the way around that ring, because in shaking this like this after removing the screws, I could see that it was leaking out of that actual spot, which is very odd, but that's where it's leaking from. You can see it kind of, if I look this way, you can see the water coming down from it there after having shaken it. So what I'm going to do is just silicone it off, and then after that, see if the gasket itself, the ring and gasket, need to be repaired, which that's the fun part, is repairing all that. But I figured I'd show you this because of the fact that it's a very odd place, and sometimes you really got to look to find these problems. So I hope everything's good. Let me take the flashlight off my head there. That probably helps. And have a good one, have a safe one, and be safe when you're working on these things.